students, and welcome to another session of our online classes. And before we continue, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel on which you're watching the class. That supports us. Thank you very much. Now, today we want to look at some past questions on literature, specifically prose. You know, we have poetry, we have drama, short stories, we have prose. Now, if you've gone through the past questions, you find out that a lot of the text there recur. That is, the set questions from them yearly. What you need to do as a student is to read each and every one of those texts. You can find them in the bookshops, because due to the coronavirus pandemic, the school was not able to provide some of the texts. So the publisher was not able to bring them. What you need to do is to look for those texts in your book. In the bookshops. Sorry, I have some of them here. This one is just prose, so you still need to look for the drama books, the short story texts, and all that. So, Wins Against Progress by Boniface Edem. I'm sure some of you have some of your elderly ones graduated from secondary school or J3, so you might find some of these books lying somewhere in your house. So you need to check first before you buy. Wins Against Progress by Boniface Edem, Oil Village by Goodluck Obede, Wings of Life by St. Moses E.A., Ada by Ifeanyi Ilechukwu, The Flower Gift by Okeke C. Jerry, The Evil That Men Do by Ekubo S. So please, if you find any of the books, these are just some of the prose books. Literature is vast. So under poetry, we have a lot of poems that recur in that textbook. Also, in case you're wondering what textbook I'm talking about, is the heartbeat of the questions, past questions on English. You find out that you have those under literature subdivided into prose. Here is the heartbeat. If you can't find yours, make sure you go to the bookshops once again and get a copy. You really need it. Now, for the literature, like I was saying, literature is part of the English. You have prose as one aspect of literature that you will find in the past questions. You find such short stories there, you find drama, and you also find the poems. Now, these are only some of the texts under prose. You still have to look for the rest in the book. Write them out. Look for them in your houses. If you can't find them, look for them in the bookshops. They are not expensive. So today we want to look at just some questions under Ada. We have this one from 2019. In 5 sentences, state what happened to Ebuka and his siblings after the death of their parents. I wonder how many of you have read the text. If you do not read the text, you won't know how to answer the questions. Frankly, you cannot tell what aspects of the story the examiners will feel like setting. So what you need to do is to get the text and read it. Now, I have read the text, and I intend to answer these two questions, this from 2019 and this other one from 2016. In 5 sentences, state Ogechi's threat to Uche. Now, a quick synopsis of the text. Ada is all about a girl that was destined from childhood to be married to the prince. That is how it goes. That's how the story goes. And this is setting as one of the things you need to study in literature. We have settings, which is where the book was set. Biology, as in geographically, and according to what time frame the book was set in. Let's say we have pre-colonial texts, we have post-colonial, we have those ones that were set during the colonial period, like the one by Chinua Achebe was set in Things Fall Apart, was set during the colonial era. Now we have this one is pre-colonial. From if you look at the book, from the way the everything was described, you find out that the setting, the person might be writing it right now, but set it in the pre-colonial Igbo land before the coming of the white men. Now, geographically, it is set in a village somewhere in eastern Nigeria. So the book is talking about a village somewhere in eastern Nigeria. So that is the setting geographically. Now the setting according to time is some time before the white men came, when it was okay for a little girl to be betrothed to someone, to be married to when she grows. Now Ada was destined to be married, was chosen by the gods to be married to the prince whenever she grows up. At the point when she grew up, the prince had already gotten someone else he wanted to marry. So he was not okay with the arrangement, but he had no choice, nothing to do about it. And so did Ada. So she even tried to escape, she could not escape. They brought her back, she got married to the prince. While she was in the palace, a lot of trials and tribulations came. She got through all that, and then at last it all was well, because the girl that the prince wanted to marry had to fall by the wayside through her own doing, and then Ada and the prince lived happily ever after. Now, if you read the book, you find that Ebuka is a character in that novel. The character of Ebuka is an orphan with his siblings. Now, in a nearby village to the village where Ada was, a man died, closely followed by his wife. He died, his wife died, and so the people of that village felt that it was a bad omen for one to lose both parents. So instead of drawing their sympathy and empathy, all they drew from the villagers was scorn and maltreatment. So they sent him and his siblings out of the village. They exiled them from their own village. So they ended up in Ada's village, who took them in and started taking care of them. Now, when she got married to the prince, she made sure that he built them a house big enough, big enough to house 20 people. And in that house, he lived with his siblings. Now, back to the question. In 5 sentences, you have to state what happened to Ebuka and his siblings after the death of their parents. So they are not asking you for 5 reasons or 5 things that happened to them. They said in 5 sentences. So you have to explain what happened just in 5 sentences. You're not to give 5 things that happened to them. 5 sentences is what they ask for. So you can start by saying that after, go straight to the point, after the death of Ebuka's parents, suffice. These are the things that happened to them when their parents died. Now, in 5 sentences, this is another question from another year on the same text. So if you go through the questions again, the literature questions, you find out that Ada recurs in almost every year. So I think you should expect a question from that text to see. In 5 sentences, state Ogechi's threat to Uche. Now, Ogechi's character in the novel is the girlfriend to the prince. She was one of his mother's maids, but that did not stop them from falling in love with themselves. So when the prince fell in love with Ogechi, I think she fell in love with his money or his status as the prince. From the events that happened in the book, you find out that Ogechi did not really love the prince. At a point, she even got pregnant for somebody else, so that she can frame him with the pregnancy. Though everything turned out well in the end. Now back to the question at hand. Ogechi's threat to Uche is relative to what she did. Ogechi is Uche's older sister. They have the same mother. Now, while she was working for the queen, the prince got married to Ada according to tradition. So, out of anger, she stopped working for the queen. After a time, she and her evil mother decided that she needed to be in the palace so that she can make sure that Ada leaves the palace. When she came back to work for the queen, she poisoned one of the meals. Now, when she poisoned one of the plates on the royal table, her sister caught her. So, at last, it was the queen that ate the food that was poisoned, though she did not die. So that is why there is a problem between them. That is why Ogechi needed to threaten Uche. Now, the threat centered around Ogechi forcing Uche to keep silent or keep quiet on what she had seen, because she saw her sister poison one of the meals on the royal table. So she had to threaten Uche to be quiet. Now the threat is what I'm going to write. Now, here you have the sentences that give the answer to this question. In 5 sentences, you have to state Ogechi's threat to Uche. Now, Ogechi threatened to kill Uche. She said she will get men to rape her, then finally kill her slowly and painfully. Ogechi was ready to do all this because she needed Uche to keep quiet on the crime she, Uche, saw Ogechi commit. Now, if discovered, Ogechi would have been hanged to death. So that is the answer to this question. So next class, I think we'll treat another of the books and see how far we can go. But that notwithstanding, you need to read the test. If you don't read the test, you won't be able to answer questions on it. Thank you very much, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Have a support, please.